On all this, let's bring in Jason Chaffetz, former Utah congressman and Fox News contributor, and Steve Hilton, also a Fox News contributor. Great to see you both, guys. Thanks for being here. Jason, remember when Trump first talked about Venezuelan gangs being here and being let out of prison? The media, they went, oh, God, this is Trump again. This is awful. The same kind of lies he's been spewing since 2016 when he came down the gold escalator. I mean, it turns out it was true. It was right. And what kills me, if you're looking at root causes for all this, it goes back to what Kamala Harris was saying before about decriminalizing illegal entry into the United States. Let me just roll tape from, I think this is from 2019. Roll it.
Raise your hand if you think it should be a civil offense rather than a crime to cross a border without documentation. Can we keep the hands up so we could see them?
Biden kind of timidly putting his hand up, whereas first person up was Kamala Harris, Jason.
Yeah, she's been an open borders person for a long time. She does not believe that there should be any sort of coordination between the federal government. You know, Democrats take this position, right? They say, oh, it's a federal issue. But then there are sanctuary states and cities so that if they do catch somebody, and remember, this is the criminal element of the illegal immigration problem, and they won't take those same people who have committed crimes or allegedly committed crimes and coordinate and do that with the feds, in particular ICE, to get them out of those communities and have them deported. So in many ways, they're treated better and softer and easier than they are an American citizen who would face much more severe consequences. And then they run rampant and they cause this fear and intimidation in these communities. And the governor just looks out over there and says, oh, that's just your imagination.
Yeah. And Steve, her take on this goes way back. I mean, it is rooted, again, root cause. It is rooted in her ideology, in her values, if you'll use her new phrase. Way back, I think this is from 2017. She put out a tweet saying an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. I mean, way back then, and she tried to sneak away from it last night. I want to play a little clip from last night's interview where she tries to get away from her past on this issue. Roll it.
One other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequences.
Steve, do you believe that?
Well, what did she say? She didn't say anything. That's a perfect example of why much of that interview was such a joke. There was no follow-up there to say, what do you mean by consequences? What kind of consequences? There is no
finger-wagging consequence.
That she's right, that she didn't talk about criminal sanctions of any kind, so she could still have the same position. So if you look at that interview last night, you say, well, fair enough, she was pretty clear about fracking. Okay, we'll give her that. She didn't give any kind of substantive evidence that we should in any way back off what she said a while back, though not that long ago, a few years ago, saying that she would decriminalize illegal entry to the United States. As far as I'm concerned, that's still her position. She did nothing last night to counter that in any substantive way. And the final point I just want to make on this topic, David, is that you used the term earlier, respect for the law and contempt for the law. This whole open borders ideology is contempt for Americans as well, contempt for our country.
That's right.
And normal people look at what's going on and say, what are the people in charge doing? Just letting this happen year after year after year. And then they turn around and say, oh, we can't send people back to their countries. Why the hell not? We've got the biggest economy in the world, the most powerful military in the world. If we want to do something, we should be able to do it when people are here illegally, who shouldn't be here in the first place.
I would disagree with you partly because in Venezuela, they're not taking it back. They're no dummies. I mean, they got rid of these bad apples. They don't want them back, and they don't have a good relationship right now with the U.S. that when they were cozying up to them earlier in the Biden administration. So, Jason, we can't. But, Jason, you brought up another point that what's happening on the local level, particularly the disgruntled folks that live in depressed areas who have lost the little bit that they had, the little parks that they had, or the little free health care centers that they had, or those sort of things. That's being diverted now to the migrants. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a sea change, not just at the top of the ballot, but down at the bottom of the ballot on local elections because of this.
I hope so, because if people want to retake and claim to their communities, they're going to have to realize that there are tens of billions of dollars that are now being funneled to people that are here illegally, as opposed to taking, I don't know, maybe like a veteran who's homeless and struggling with mental health issues. Those types of things.
Yes.
The schoolrooms, the classrooms, when your kids are going back to school, and then suddenly a teacher's having to deal with five kids who don't speak English. Do you think that's going to have an effect on their community? Absolutely. And by the way, Kamala Harris says, there should be consequences and we should enforce the law. Well, the current law says if you come into this country between the ports of entry, you're to be detained and deported.
Yeah.
But that's not what she's doing. So it's an empty suit. When she says that they're going to enforce the law, they're not enforcing the law. That's the problem. Donald Trump will enforce the law. Kamala Harris has not enforced the law, and she's the one in charge right now.
Well, and Steve, it's such a mess right now because you have the problem on the federal side where they're not vetting any of these creeps that are coming in, so they get a free ride, by the way, into the United States, and they're not vetted. And then you have on the state level and sometimes the local level, you have these sanctuary state rules or sanctuary city rules, and sometimes they conflict because the governor of Colorado now, Governor Polis, is saying that people are imagining this, the local folks who think that the Venezuelans are taking over housing projects and stuff, they're just imagining it. Well, we don't have to imagine. We have the videotape. We literally have the videotape, and he is doing the ultimate in gaslighting, claiming that what we are seeing on video, that the stuff that's happening that we can look at and see, and the stuff that their people are suffering with isn't happening at all.
I mean, it's just such an insult to everybody's intelligence. And you're absolutely right about the state and local aspect of this as well. And here in California, I've talked to sheriffs the whole time. They're absolutely at their wits' end because they have all this crime going on, and it's a sanctuary state. There's nothing they can do about it. I mean, and the scale of this, the extent of it, people have to understand. I mean, just now I was in the Central Valley in California, one of the greatest agricultural areas in the world. I was talking to the sheriffs there. What are the main crime issues? They said the theft of agricultural equipment. What's behind that? Well, the cartels are now branching out, if you can believe it, to agriculture and farming.
Wow.
They're taking over the avocado industry.
Wow.
So guess what they're doing? They're trundling up and down the Central Valley of California, stealing tractors and other farm equipment, putting them in massive trailers and taking them to Mexico. I said, how on earth is that even possible? Why isn't it being detected and stopped? They can track it with electronic trackers. They said, because they control the border. I mean, the scale of this is just ridiculous.
That's another thing that Trump says. We've only seen the beginning. I think he's right on that issue as well. We only have about 20 seconds, but I got to get your view on this, Steve Hilton, because it's your territory. The new radical prime minister of the UK has thrown out or banned this wonderful portrait of Maggie Thatcher. He's trying to erase history, one of the most significant historical figures in British history, in politics, at least in modern British history. Maggie Thatcher, she doesn't exist anymore, according to this new PA. What's going on there?
It's absolutely outrageous. I've got to tell you, I worked in 10 Downing Street, and it's a pretty small place. We used to call it informally the Thatcher Room, and I used to love having meetings there. It was my favourite place to have meetings. You could book the rooms, and there she was, looking over us as we were around the table, an inspiration. She's one of our greatest ever leaders in the UK. This total disrespect. It shows how far left and ideological they've become on that side of the fence. They have no respect for anyone else's opinion, and this is a great and terrible example of it.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, great to have you on. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful 3-day weekend.
Thanks, David.
If you have one, I appreciate you coming in.